I think this is the best return on investment that I have in my life. Eventually, we enter a commercial phase for which, admittedly, I was not very well prepared. I needed to understand better about marketing and go-to-market and many other elements.
At MIT, I went there to develop my mindset as an engine of everything that we do today, right?
Whatever is the problem that you have, you send the message to the WhatsApp group and somebody's going to respond and give you that contact. So it's almost thinking that everybody is just like two connections away. Many times we fall into autopilot and then don't reflect of the impact of the direction on which we are going.
Going to the new position, into the new corporation, I will not have that impact that I want on the world.
Would I be able to someday qualify for the Boston Marathon? 5 years later, I was able to qualify on Monday, April 20th.
Hello, Gerardo.
Hello, Elias. Very good to see you. Thank you for the invitation to participate in your podcast.
Thank you very much for participating. It's my first podcast in English, and Gerardo is my first guest. You are here at the podcast at MIT IHQ in Cambridge in the USA. And with Gerardo, we'll be discussing today everything about MIT Executive MBA, MBA in general, but as well about the growing mindset. So how do we transform ourselves within this institution, and in general, what kind of expectations we have before entering this kind of MIT, Harvard, and these big schools, and what results we achieve. So this is a podcast, and so Gerardo is my first guest. Thank you very much, Gerardo, for that. My name is Ilyas Jumadilov. So I am originally from Kyrgyzstan, from Central Asia, living here in US, in Boston. Gerardo, please introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you very much, Ilyas. So my name is Gerardo Toledo. I am a man 59 years old. I was born in Mexico City, Mexico, and I have lived through all my youth and education in Mexico, but then I moved to the United States to study my PhD in the year 1995, almost 31 years ago. And since then, I had been working here in biotech and different areas. And for the last 20 months being a member of the class 26 of the Executive MBA at MIT Sloan.
Yeah, thank you, Gerardo. So discussion today, as I mentioned, it's about MIT. I think many people in the mid-career or people who were in corporate world, maybe launching their own companies, they are looking for the next levels, and they're thinking about going to these big schools, big brands like MIT today, right? So MIT, by the way, was ranked as a top #1 MBA in the world by Financial Times this year. And Gerardo, we're paying $200,000 for this program.
Yes, I realize that.
I know. Is it waste of money?
Absolutely not. I think this is the best return on investment that I have in my life. This program, the tuition is commensurate with all the schools and with what you get in the program, but for me it has been a transformational journey that had helped me improve myself at the personal level, but also all the benefits that I have received from going through the program. So no, I think I will not say that it's cheap, but I would say that it was a worthwhile investment. We had a sacrifice to pay that, but I think in general it's something that I feel very happy to having been going through.
I agree with you. Myself, if I ask myself again, like, do I want to do this again? Yes, definitely. So this was one of the best investments I ever had. I know that if we look into the studies and surveys about MBA, specifically MIT, about 30% of people are looking to pivot. Yeah. So 1/3 of the cohort classmates, they are looking to pivot to another industry or going out from the corporation world to the entrepreneurship journey. some people, maybe 50%, I think, in terms of survey, saying that they want to develop themselves in the same organization. So going higher levels, climbing the ladder and gaining new positions there. What's your situation?
Yeah, so it was very intentional when I joined the program. I was transitioning out of the company that I have founded, Solaria Bio. So we were making probiotics for women in menopause. And so I grew that company from inception to raising several rounds of venture capital. And as the company was growing, eventually we entered a commercial phase for which, admittedly, I was not very well prepared. I needed to understand better about marketing and go to market and many other elements. And so I talked to the board and we say, we're going to transition and hire a CEO that will have the commercial experience. So when I made my application for a program, I was precisely I stated that I wanted to pursue and learn more about entrepreneurship and filling the gaps that I had from my education. So I have gone through the program precisely with that idea of creating new ventures and expanding what I have in the experiential journey that I have from having an idea to raising capital and having a product that is successful and is effective, but now more going into how that can scale and how can that have the impact and the reach that deserves a different mindset and shift. So in my case, I have been in the same lane since I came in, and now when I look back at my application, I feel that I fulfilled the goals that I wanted to do, which is launch another company and grow as an entrepreneur.
Oh, wow. So it's not only about growing your existing company or the company that you have founded, but as well going to create a new ventures, and basically make happen new ideas into the companies.
Yes. So one of the things in this transformational journey that I have gone through the MBA program has been to have a different perspective on the world. Before, I had a very good team that I hired and nurtured, about 17 people, 9 PhDs, all overachievers. So my world orbitated around this team and then everything about them. And that, in a way, limited my ability to look broadly and then to see, how the world looks like. Taking classes with Roberto Fernandez, for example, operational processes or OP, was one of the first moments that I realized that the world was so big and it's inspirational to think of what can I do with how can I have impact, and then how big is the world so that I can operate in that mindset versus having a very tunnel vision of a very small problem and small set of people.
You're talking about mindset, and I think it's one of the main transformations happened to me at MIT. I went there to develop my mindset as an engine of everything that we do today, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, many people mention networking as one of the main aspects of going into MBAs and specifically being alumni of MIT, Harvard, Stanford, and so on. How do you see this as a value proposition for you?
It's tremendous. So there are two parts of this. Number one is the exposure that you have within the program. So inevitably, whether you like it or not, you will collide with very talented people. Like, for example, we took classes with Simon Johnson, and we took a macroeconomy class leading in the global context. And then he just won the Nobel Prize the year prior. So so talking about these ideas and these concepts, it's something that you cannot avoid being at MIT. But the other magic that I've seen happening is in the classroom. So everybody is so talented and accomplished, and you can see that whoever is sitting next to you is it could be a very important connection. And I have found that through interactions in several classes and courses that I'm taking, just like the connections that I have forged, I think had been very critical. Even you and I, we participated. Our very first exercise and during the orientation week was a survival exercise. So once you go into the Arctic, and what are the things that you will save to get your survival? And I remember we have some discussions, but it's been almost like thinking of that survival as a part of going through the program. But in general, I think that the network and that connection is one of the things that really amplifies what you can do. Just thinking about even our own class, 126 highly accomplished individuals, and whatever is the problem that you have, you send the message to the WhatsApp group, and somebody's going to respond and give you that contact. So it's almost thinking that everybody is just like two connections away, whoever you want to reach.
I see it as almost like a small world representation in the faces of 126 people, right? So
Yes.
we have all the different countries, continents.
Yes.
We covering all the type of industries and different functions. So yeah, I think I agree with you. We usually say like to change your life, you need to have just one person with one connection, but we have 126 of them.
Yes, yes, and it feels that this would be lifelong connections, and then the relationships that we have established have been very personal. We have gone together as a cohort through a journey that has been full of excitement, tragic events, many things. But then I think that has galvanized our group as a very solid a structure that I feel that I have like lifelong friends found in the group.
How do you feel about going back to this world of school after I don't know how many years? Is it? Do you feel yourself like as a student again, or?
Yeah. So thank you. This is a great question because it's been a journey. So it was not easy at the beginning. Like, for example, before we start the program, we had to do this math primer on calculus just to level everybody and get them at the same foundation as we start going into very complicated and analytical courses. And I was recounting, it was like 40 years ago that I took my last calculus class. So I had to brush it up, and I was a little bit rusty on that. So it took an extraordinary effort in the summer of 24 to prepare to come into the class. But at that moment, I realized that it was a big commitment. I had a discretionary time before I watched Netflix. I enjoy watching the Red Sox, the Patriots, and the Celtics. And then I started realizing that all of the hours that I was allocating to that, they went away immediately with the program. So there was no room for any of that, and it was instead needed to be allocated to the assignments, the program. As a 58-year-old man coming into like learning again, it was humbling, but also I felt that it was very enriching. I could see how I was growing intellectually, learning new things, and having the opportunity to have maybe new brain connections. And I feel that my brain got rewired through all of this journey, and it was very exciting just to have the opportunity to learn of things that I have never taken classes, marketing, pricing, finance, accounting, and all that stuff. It was all news to me, and I think it was very rejuvenating for me. When we started the program, I thought I was going to be the oldest student in our class, and I was wrong. I think there are a few of our classmates that are few years my senior. But still, for me, it has been a very unique journey. I'm turning 60 this year. So I'm recasting my next 20 years of career. And while many in my cohort now are feeling that they are looking for retirement and want to play golf and move to a tropical place, I'm willing and wanting to start new companies. So I feel that now that I have learned how this game is played, I can be much more effective. And I feel that my career is just starting May 29th of this year when we graduate. And I'm very excited to, at 60 years old, start that and feel the vibrancy and the opportunity of this.
Thank you, Gerardo. I have to say that it's an inspiration because so many people are thinking, even after like 30 years old, like they will not be learning anymore. So I have friends and relatives that they have chosen the work, or the work chose them.
Yes.
And they stay there. So they say, okay, no, now I will be just doing this for whole my life. And almost they don't ask themselves if there is another path, like more with more enjoyment, with more interesting people on the road, right? So, and interesting projects. I think going back to school at 40, 50, 60 is an inspiration for so many generations. So really, like, hey, at any age, you can start a new chapter and discover new things.
Yes.
And I guess that's what you're doing, right? So it's not just slowing down, but you trying to completely opening up new ways of your development, of realizing your high potential.
Yeah, exactly. And what happened is that I felt that when I was growing as an entrepreneur and as a biotechnologist, I fell in a trap that many people fell, which is I need to be successful in this job. I want to have this job, and I want to give it all. And I'm in pursuit of developing my career. But many times we fall into autopilot.
Yeah.
And then don't reflect of the impact of the direction on which we are going. Is this job going to give me the life satisfaction that I have set for myself? Is this going to be conducive of having a healthy lifestyle? Could I also balance this with my family and have the opportunity to have a sustainable plan? And I think this is something that I admit that in my 30s and 40s, I was in this like very high intensity career. I want to do everything that whatever it takes, and spending a lot of hours there at the expense of not reflecting on what was the long term of this. It was something sustainable, and it was not until I got sick that I realized that was not healthy. And then for me, the outlet and the therapy was to start doing triathlons and then doing endurance sports. And so that with that, I started finding some sort of like a therapy and getting relaxed and exercising. But I start reflecting on the importance of balancing this. And I think many people are always like focused, and because it's relatively easy to have that mindset of what is your job and how you want to grow, and we do sometimes at the expense of our own time and our own life. Mm-hmm. So not reflecting that the most precious asset that we have as humans is our time. And so thinking about, what is that we're willing to give up and trade off in exchange of our time.
Mm-hmm. I see that. Gerardo, I see you as a person who is knowing how to develop himself. Mm-hmm. So taking care of yourself, right? So health-wise.
Yep.
But at the same time, looking on how to develop the impact on the world.
Yeah.
So, and this is what I see a lot throughout the cohort. So people at MIT students, Executive MBA students, they are looking not only gaining like new positions, new money, and like more privilege or whatever. But they're pursuing now how we can do the impact.
Yeah.
This is what I've seen. We have at MIT different sessions where people present the startups, they present ideas on what kind of new ventures they can create, and so on. And throughout this, I see how people choosing the things that really can be impactful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and myself, I was looking going out of the corporation and starting my own companies. And at one point, I was like, "Hey, do I just go? Maybe I don't go fast now to create my company, but I will go and get new position in another company, like more money, right?
Yes.
So 50% or 30% more money and so on." And then I realized, okay, going to the new position into the new corporation, I will not have that impact that I want on the world.
Yep.
So because your efforts quite often they diluted, these hundreds of thousands employees and so on. But if you have an idea that you want to implement as a startup, for example,
Yeah.
and you see the real problem that you can address, and you can be quite impactful to the people's life. So I started to look from this perspective, and I think MIT helped me to go on this path of looking where is the impact and where I can be of value. So it's very resonating what you're saying. I think, by the way, on your triathlon and so on, did you finish Boston Marathon recently?
Yes. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I ran the Boston Marathon last week on Monday, and yeah, it was a very it was a long journey. I started training for a Boston Marathon 5 years ago. So one of the reasons why, when I moved I used to live in San Diego, and, and got recruited here to Boston. And when I came here, I didn't have time to start training. And then when I started training, I injured my knee and had some problems, and that were complicating. But to the point that I have a severe meniscus injury on my knee. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, probably would be good for you to get
Not to run.
Not to run. He was saying get a knee replacement. So he sent me to an orthopedist to look for a knee replacement. The orthopedist says, I think your knee is not ready for replacement, but I cannot fix it. So he gave me a green light to start running. And then I ran for a charity, the Boston Marathon in 2021. And I finished in 5 hours and 11 minutes. And it was a very interesting, because counter to intuition, the more that I ran, the better that my knee felt. So it was, I think, a combination of building the muscle in a leg, but also, having a little bit of the impact. And I don't know if that stimulates the repair in the knee tissue, but it felt good. So the next year, I said, well, I will try to run a little bit faster and faster. But then at that moment, I thought that I asked myself, would I be able to someday qualify for the Boston Marathon? And so that put me in this mindset of say, okay, I'm gonna start like training and going in a very diligent path. And 5 years later, I was able to qualify on Monday, April 20th. I ran a time of 3 hours and 45 minutes and 30 seconds. So that the cutoff time for qualifying for my age group is 3 hours and 50 minutes. So I did that with 4.5 minutes to spare. So
That's amazing.
it was very exciting day for me. I was lucky that training during the winter was very hard. There was a lot of snow and ice, and took a slip, injured my shoulder, but Nevertheless, on race day, it was a gorgeous day. It was beautiful, and I think that helped. There was a little bit of tailwind. Some of the people broke records, so but it helped me. So that, yeah, ultimately, I qualify, and I'm gonna be running next year.
Running next year, though.
Yes, yes. So now that I will have a BIV as a qualified runner for Boston Marathon.
Nice. Congratulations. What motivates you to? I mean, you mentioned this year you're 60.
Yes.
Right? So and being so sportive, you look young.
Oh, thank you.
What motivates you to? Were you always like this, or there is like at certain age you said, okay, now I have to take care of myself and start doing sport?
Yeah, I think I have that break or pivot moment when I was in my 40s, in mid 40s, when I was in San Diego, when I was working very, very hard and very intense. And I realized that it was not worth it to sacrifice my health for the experiments and the stuff that I was doing for a company. It will have no value for me or any type of legacy that I would like to do. So at that moment, I promised to myself that I wanted to live a healthy life, that I will not sacrifice my health in lieu of doing any professional development, and that I will balance that. That didn't mean that I didn't have professional aspirations. It meant that I was not willing to sacrifice my health for achieving those. And then I prioritized my health. And since that moment, I've been trying to exercise regularly. But sometimes I had injuries and just had to overcome that. But I feel that now I cracked the code into what it needs to be done to keep healthy. And the secret is pretty simple. It's just a combination of eating well, don't do any excess in the diet. And then when exercising, for me, is as important as the exercise itself is rest, to balance with rest.
How do you rest? What does it mean, rest?
Yeah, so for example, training for a Boston Marathon, the foundation was to do long runs. And so which I would extending from 10, 15, 18, 20 miles. The longest run was 21 miles. So I would prepare and I would do those on the weekend. And then the rest of the week was recovering. So I run very few miles in totality. And so that meant that probably I would run maybe another day. And instead I will do some cross training with a spin bike or resistance training. But I always listen to my body. And what I mean is that if I felt tired, I just lay on the couch. If I had to do a workout and say, hey, I feel tired, well, I want to watch TV or do homeworks or do something else. And I think that's the key. So at my age, I'm thinking and reading my body and then giving myself the opportunity to recover from all of these workouts has been a key part of keeping injury free.
So I know that you are tracing as well your biological age.
Yes.
What's your biological age showing you today?
Yeah, well, that's a tricky question. So what I track mostly is my Garmin has a feature called fitness age. Biological age is very controversial because people say, with some blood markers, they can measure methylation or any other inflammation or etc. And then say, hey, you are X number of years younger or older from where you are. And still, I think there is no clear consensus of that. But for me, it has been mostly tracking it from the functional perspective, meaning, for example, how fast can I run a marathon? How fast can I run a 5K or a 10K? And then how quickly can I recover from that? And so with the algorithm and Garmin and fitness age, yes, it gives me 10 years grace. So according to my Garmin, I'm 49 years old. But of course, what it means is that in my case is that how fit can I be, and then how well can I perform in one of these athletic events. But it's I think part of the other side of feeling young is to be young and the mindset, and by that I mean humble and open to learn, uh, curious about the world, empathetic with other people, and I think that has given me this opportunity to feel young at heart, feel capable and grateful for the opportunity to have mobility.
Yeah.
And then looking at the horizon for me is that what can I do in the next 20 years? If I get to year 80, which is, I call it an average, but if I get there in good health, I ask myself, what can I do? What are the projects that I can launch on, and then that will be capable, I will be capable of doing, because I need to take care of my health and my ability to do that in a very holistic way, just thinking of mind, body, spirit, and of course financially as well.
Yeah, yeah, I see. Yeah, so for 49 fitness age, meaning, I guess it means like you can compete with people of 49 years old people, right? So,
Yeah.
and if I recap, you said it's very important mentally
Yes.
to be open to the new learnings, to a new perspective, and so that will be that as well, like enriching you and keeping you young. But at the same time, I think what you have mentioned before is very typical things, but still people are not following, is a good food and good rest and good sport,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, I mean, these are things that I mean, it's not a kind of a secret,
Correct.
but somehow people are still looking how they can be how they can extend their lifespan, how they can really feel themselves better. But you have on the surface the things to do already.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, as you said, the secret is that there is no secret.
No.
So we had been hearing about this, and we just don't pay attention, because it's easier to think about that the magic pill is going to save us from death and disease, and that we opt to go to the pill rather than that put in the work. And I think for some people it's hard to exercise. There are people that it's really difficult to lace up shoes and go for a walk or for a run. For me, it's the opposite. I feel that if I don't do that, I don't feel good. So that works on my favor. But in diet-wise, I try to eat balance, and so no excess of anything. I eat of everything, and because I believe that we evolve as humans, omnivores, so we have to eat whatever was available. It was like either berries or game hunting. So and I think that biology hasn't changed that much. So practicing that has helped me so far. It's good. But to your point, yes, I track a lot of things. So for example, I have a continuous glucose monitor for several years now, and try to see how I respond to different meals or different situations. For example, I used it extensively when I was training for a marathon. I would be measuring my blood glucose every mile. So I have my spreadsheet.
How do you measure that?
I have a continuous glucose monitor that is it's
a sensor?
Yeah,
You
it's a
put on
sensor
your skin?
it's a sensor that gets implanted, and it's very easy to apply. And then the reading is an app that you have on the phone, and then with that app I can see right now my blood glucose is 99. But then I can analyze how it has been over the month, over the year. But in training, my hypothesis was that some people say that they hit the wall at mile 20. So you run the Boston Marathon, I think,
Yes.
last year. And so people talk about the proverbial wall. And my hypothesis is that a sign of low blood glucose. So if your blood sugar is dropping, then it's very hard. Your body is shutting down. Say it tells you stop. You cannot work because you have low sugar. So to avoid that, I think taking gels, running,
Yeah.
and then measuring how my blood glucose is responding to the gels to keep them at a level. And I dial that, so I've been learning about that for years now, so I get it now. So for me, it's like I have to take a gel every 3 miles, which, it's about 25, 26 minutes. So, ballpark people say every half an hour. So, I think it's something that you have to experiment yourself. But for me, it has been an important metric. And then the other things that I measure are my blood pressure. Every day I measure my blood pressure, and also I use a Garmin scale. And so I have all this data. So every year, at the end of a year in December, I do my bill of health. So I I recap and analyze how my blood pressure has behaved throughout the year. Last year, I have only very few days that I have spikes in my blood pressure. One of them was when we did our final for DMD. And so not the test was itself, of course, a little bit intense for me. But what raised my blood pressure is that after I finished, I couldn't sleep. And so not sleeping raises your blood pressure. And that was one of the high days. And the other was like, of course, on New Year's Eve, I have a little bit of sparkling wine, and so not sleeping well. So it's like, but what it has empowered me with the understanding of how little events in daily life have an impact. And what I reflect is that the people that don't know how these compounds, for example, drinking every day, or not sleeping well, or having high blood pressure, if they don't know that they have high blood pressure, and eventually have to go to the doctor because they start feeling dizzy or have some of the symptoms, but at that time it's already too late. So they have gone for probably years without knowing that they're damaging their body with the high blood pressure. So I worry about these things, and then I try to measure in as much as I can, and it's fun. And some people say, was this too excessive? Measure your blood pressure every day. Yeah, but it takes 5 minutes, and for me, it's a pleasure of looking at the data. Funny thing, in my prior company, sometimes I have stressful days at work, and some of them were repeating, and I realized, why is this? And because I have some meetings that were stressful, and it turns out that that was spiking my blood pressure on that frequency. And so my body was already anticipating. I was preconditioned or predisposed to the stress. And the moment that that transition, that stress went away. So it's now I'm thinking, oh, how can I manage all of this if I have a spike in blood pressure? And by spike, I mean just it's not super high, but then just what happened? Did I not sleep well? Do I need to do a little bit of exercise?
Try to see the reasons behind.
Yes, exactly. The cause and effect.
I think what you're saying is very important in terms of feedback loop.
Yes.
So we, as humans, we don't really understand how our body reacts to the events happening during the day.
Yep.
We don't collect enough data. And probably I can say that we are not very much data-driven creatures. So we have quite data available through our smartwatches, maybe smartphones, some sensors, and so on. But rarely people really take any decisions based on that. I'm really thinking that once we start to get more of medical and biotechnologies that will be helping us to get instant feedbacks on our health and see how each of the habits, be it food, be it just walking or sleeping less and so on, impacting our mood, our performances, our ability to clearly think and make right decisions for our lives.
Yeah, no, 100%. So it's the amount of data that we can get through wearables is staggering, and I think it's very informative. One example, like for example, for me, in my case, I've been tracking resting heart rate. And I think this is an important metric because it speaks about the ability to recover from exercise, but also to have a basal metabolism. And so my resting heart rate over the last 3 years has been dropping. Mm-hmm. And I see this, you can say, well, it was a day, it was a month, but averaging and getting all the data from a whole year, and then I can see that these trends. And what I'm trying to say is that all of the effects compound of the benefits of exercising and training. And so the benefits that I see today, for example, in lowering my resting heart rate, are originated maybe even a year or 2 years ago. So,
do you use any LLMs for this? Do you consult as well?
Yeah. So it's a very interesting question. So I for a Boston Marathon, I gather all the data and then analyze it with ChatGPT just to have like a more holistic perspective in getting all of it. And I included also some of my data from a physical exams, cholesterol and some other metrics. But in particular, one of the things that was very helpful was to plan the training for a Boston Marathon. Mm-hmm. So in most cases, you see plans that are like cookie cutter and say, you need to run X number of miles on this week, and then you start increasing, and then you decrease. But when I look at the numbers, to me, they were like very high. I say, you need to run 70 miles or 80 miles in a week, and say, it's too much for me. So instead, I have to do my own personalized program, and I think this is one of the things that in the future people should look more as like what works for each individual. But in my case, I was planning and say, this is the pace that I want to run. This is the time that I was targeting 3 hours and 48 minutes. How would I break down the race? What are the things that I need to work? And I did that probably 4 or 5 months in advance and started thinking, the Boston course is hilly, so I need to work on the strengths of my quads. Mm-hmm. So I had to do a lot of squats and running up and down hills. And then aerobic capacity, I needed to have the lungs to make sure that I could get that. Then combining with the heart rate and making sure that I was running below my lactate threshold. So meaning that I did not go into anaerobic condition on which starting to accumulate lactate, and that's what hurts. So getting all of this fine-tuned. After every run, I will analyze that at the end of a week and then say, okay, how am I doing in each one of these? And it was very interesting, use the LLM as a coach and say, sometimes just asking very specific questions about what are the metrics that are more important to do or not. And even how to train for those. So what are the exercises that
and was it accurate? Was it helpful
yes.
for you?
Well, it is because I finished in the time that I was planning. So yes, it did work. And actually, I even asked the LLM, what is the probability that I have success in this? So breaking down into level of fitness, mm-hmm. the cardiopulmonary capacity, the length. The leg endurance, and so all of this, what do I needed to do for each one of these categories, and then see how I was tracking towards those, and then at the end of each week I will get a score and say, okay, what's the probability that given the data that we have today, I will finish within the time that I targeted, and we started about like 50 or 60% early on the season. And some of the last runs, it was already getting into the 90s. So you were
feeding back the information to...
Yes, exactly. I say, okay, reassess, recalibrate. So now I check this box and I check all these boxes. And this is the evidence, pulling out the raw files from the
It's astonishing how coaching is accessible now.
Yes, personalized only for me, and then
Yeah.
even thinking about how to approach the race, breaking it down into several sections. As you know, it starts like going downhill, then flat, and then
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
uphill. And so, in each one of these stages, so what are the metrics that I needed to consider training? And I have to admit, at some point, I felt that I knew more than the advice. So I say, oh, just don't go too fast downhill. And say, no, I'm gonna go fast. I just want to push it to how I feel. And yeah, it did not work. So
Yeah.
no, in one of the long runs, the longest run was in March 28th. I needed to run, or I was planned to run 21 miles. And I was running with one of our classmates from Hopkinton and he said, oh, you're going too fast. I went too fast and as fast as I could. And then at mile 16, I just blew up. I ended up walking something like 4 or 5 miles, and he catch up with me. So it's like
So you have to follow the process.
yeah. So I think it's like there is a logic, and if you deviate from that, which I was doing, I failed miserably. But the learning was like, okay, now analyzing with the LLM was like, okay, no, what happened here was like you went too fast and you burned your quads, and then you just, even if you have the aerobic capacity to continue running, your legs were already done. So if you do that in the race, guess what's going to happen? You're going to fail. So the race was then adapting to that and using that training as a learning. So it's like, okay, I learned a lesson. And yeah, I think by and large was very helpful to have this personalized coach through ChatGPT.
And we will get even better and better from one year to another.
Yes, no, it's amazing.
We'll see. Gerardo, what is I know we spoke already a lot about MIT, about health, about sport. What are the biggest lessons learned you had in your life that looking back you understand, okay, here is my lesson, here is the thing that I get as the biggest insight, and probably that you want to share as well with the audience?
Yeah, no, I think what I have learned through the years is to be humble. I think part of growing, and as I was saying, in my 30s and 40s, I felt that I could do anything, and then everything was a fight and a race, and I didn't go that far. I was winning some battles but losing many, and I felt that I was not sustainable. So I had to take a different approach and see everything with much more humility. And the other thing that has been important part of my growth as a person is to be empathetic, to understand that people have a very different perspectives in the world, different orientations. Being aware, I didn't know what neurodivergence was. Like some people, their brain is wired differently, and but it's not that they are broken in any way. It's just like they just have a different perspective. And trying to get in their shoes has helped me grow. Same with other types of diversity, gender identity, and many things that when I was growing up, I was not even aware of all of those things that existed. And so understanding how diverse is the world, how we unique are each one of us as humans, and how valuable we are, has given me more joy and more opportunity to learn from every interaction. Coming here to the program has been more humbling because everybody is so accomplished, but at the same time, I felt that everybody is so approachable, and so in a way has been a level setting coming into the program, and then going into the classroom when everybody becomes just an MBA student, so we're just learning together, and we come out in the classroom, and then they're like directors of hospitals and professionals, and everybody is very accomplished, but they continue to have that level of humility. So having that sense of connection with very accomplished people, that I can see them as friends and colleagues, so I don't need to feel lesser, but at the same time also see the people that the people that help us at school, serving us meals, or that are like janitors cleaning the building. I see them equally valuable, and I think that has allowed me to see the world in a very different perspective, which is much more enjoyable.
Gerardo, thank you very much. I think this is a perfect ending, because usually I would expect people looking at MIT, Harvard, and so on. They are thinking about like going to the new levels, fighting and getting the new milestones, achieving very high peaks. But no, you're talking about humility, about empathy, and I think this human nature, like nurturing our human nature, is one of the most important aspects of principled leadership that we try to achieve as well within MIT.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Gerardo, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Liz.
Yeah.